Okay, stop. What is that?
Tis some kind of... That is a very big head.
Be silent!
Like a frost giant's head on an infant's body.
Captain Forrest here, and in today's video, I'm going to be going over the God of Thunder himself, Thor, from Marvelcomics 616. Now if you guys are new to my channel, please leave a like, comment down below, and of course subscribe for the content. Also, huge shout out to the HQ squad, massive shout out to the team. I want to give a huge special shout out to Korin. He's been a huge help in my videos, and he was actually very helpful in this video. A lot of the research in this video comes from him. The Thor section was absolutely amazing, so huge shouts to Korin. Make sure you check out his channel. His link will be in the description. But anyway, I'm going to go ahead, get right into meat and potato things. I'm going to talk about Thor, work my way up, talk about Cosmic King Thor, talk about current Thor, and then go over a bit of the cosmology, talk a bit about that. And then near the end of the video, I'm going to showcase a chart so you guys can visually see where Thor would range in terms of the scaling aspect of things. But anyway, I'm going to go ahead and get right to meat and potato things. So Thor, and the help of other Thors, were able to hold back the collapse of countless universes / dimensions. A singular universe has infinite realities inside of it. This is stated by Artu, the Watcher himself, who watches all over realities. What I've said about universes would also apply to the infinite uncountable higher dimensions. Some people think that Marvel is only countable infinite, when it's just greater sets of infinity. Basically, infinity stacked upon top of infinite and infinite amount of times. It's always expanding and increasing greater infinitely. Doctor Strange Sorcerer Supreme issue 21 is just one example of this. This comic talks about these things called Alephs, which is basically just one set of infinity and then on to the next set of infinity. So right off the bat, this would easily put Thor around the multi-plus ranges to the high hyperversal plus ranges, if not higher. But we've got some more impressive feats and some more scaling for Thor, of course. This isn't it, folks. So right here, we've seen the God of Thunder shiver the 9 realms during his battle with the World Serpent. This is actually way more impressive than it may appear at first glance. Asgard itself was consistently depicted as being beyond space, time, and dimensions. Not even a quantum cosmologist can understand and comprehend the true nature of what Asgard is. So yes, folks, Asgard is genuinely beyond mortal concepts of time and space, even mortals who are literal quantum cosmologists. There are numbers greater than infinity, and just like in mathematics, the universe is transfinite, existing infinities higher than other infinities. In this fight, Eric Masterson clashes with another Thor from the future. Once they realized that they could handle each other's strikes, they stopped pulling their punches on each other. What happens next is very impressive, because they produce energy that simultaneously affected all planes of reality and stretched across the entire cosmos. We've seen Loki and Odin simultaneously clash and affect all conceivable astral and metaphysical planes. Even Doctor Strange confirms that it is metaphysical, and the narration notes it's far beyond the physical. Now, I want to go over something called Yggdrasil, aka the World Tree, and I'm going to be talking about a special feat that Thor performed with the World Tree. I will go into more detail as I will be talking about the Dimension of Manifestation and the Superflow, but don't worry folks, it will all make sense as I go along and explain it to you folks. So let's get right into the meat and potatoes of things and move on deeper through the gravy and the mashed potatoes. So we've seen Thor fight against the combined force of both Yggdrasil and the World Engine. Thor forced it all back to the end, and the feat did indeed cause him a lot of pain. Enchantress herself states that all of existence owes Thor, which is pretty good, you know, standing ovation for Thor. And we also see Yggdrasil is literally everything. It has its roots and branches in all that is. It connects all life, the birth of life. The mythologies and religions coincide with science, and that all life came from one source, be it single cell life or the body of a giant, a cosmic egg, or an explosion. The tree is impossibly vast. Its span is beyond all measure, mortal or divine. In some places it exists only as a concept. Yggdrasil essentially encompasses the dimension of manifestation and the superflow. Now we look at the dimension of manifestation, where there are numerous embodies, each implied to be at a different level of infinity. The dimension of manifestation is infinite. We know this because Quasar discovers an alternate body of infinity and is surprised because there is, infinite of infinity. Quasar would need to transcend upwards to find eternity due to how transfinite he is. This would mean that the dimension of manifestation is infinitely or transfinitely in width and also in Hype 2. We know this because in the full scan, where we see the numerous M-bodies, we literally see Quasar at the trial of Adam Warlock, something that took place in overspace. This means that the dimension of manifestation contains levels of M-bodies, not just infinite M-bodies. Now, when it comes to levels of reality, Doctor Strange tells us that there are beyond an infinite amount. It's backed up even further by Cubic, as he explains that higher manifestations of M-bodies are greater infinities compared to Cosmos and Cubic. Using this, we can say that the difference between each M-body is more than the unimaginable difference between the cosmic cube, Beyonder, and Cubic, and the fact that Cubic notes that there are levels to infinity, implying all of them exist, means that the gap is so massive between cosmic M-bodies, it happens basically more than an infinite number of times before you can get to their true form. In Avengers Infinity, Quasar describes the drones as infinities, and that the M-bodies, such as the Living Tribunal, Eternity, and Oblivion, the drones are almost human next to the infinities. The Avengers merge their consciousness with universal M-body of Eternity to communicate with the infinities. They are then placed into the dimension of manifestation. There are multiple infinities looking down at Eternity. The infinities point out the difference between Eternity and themselves, and that they are much greater than Uni-Eternity. Their purpose is to rearrange the energies of the greater multiverse, despite the infinities being vastly above M-bodies to the point where humans are so close to them as they are to him. The infinities together are still outclassed by a multiversal M-body of Eternity, and since this took place in a dimension of manifestation, this would mean that the layers I have mentioned or scale. Just to summarize, the dimension of manifestation contains the appearance of all M-bodies, no matter what level of reality they are, so there is a beyond infinite number of levels to reality, each with M-bodies at a different level, shown as they are at different levels for different levels of reality. And as mentioned before, we know that the dimension manifestation has transfinite manifestations for Eternity, including levels of Eternity, as there are levels of infinity for the cosmos itself, as noted by Cubic and Cosmos. And then going over two different layers confirmed inside the dimension of manifestation is a axiomatic difference. So right off the bat, we have the dimension of manifestation at 1s, aka extraversal. Now that I've addressed this and gone over the dimension of manifestation, let's talk about a realm that is above the dimension of manifestation as a whole, called the superflow. The superflow, as stated by the maker, is a place where concepts live and make war, which is supported by the statement that notes where living concepts make war. And he also supports this statement by saying that it's the realm of abstract entities, and that it's an informational space between universes where dreams come from. This is supported by the fact that the Lifebringer Galactus notes that it's the highest plane of reality, the level of aspects, the highest space of dreams and vision. It's also been confirmed to be a conceptual space, and that at this level, combat is a metaphor. Essentially, the superflow is conceptually beyond the multiverse, aka deep space, and a dimension of manifestation. Depending on what ranges you use, is either a outerversal, a high outerversal, a boundless, or an extraversal structure. And now that I've explained all of this to you, this is absolutely insane. Thor is literally being able to lift up the world tree, he's able to push it, he's able to do crazy things with the world tree, and these realms are inside this bloody thing. This is very impressive, folks. Now, I'm gonna go ahead and talk about Cosmic King Thor, and then after that, I'm gonna go ahead and move on and talk about current Thor, and talk about what he's doing around the table. In Thor 2020, Issue 1, Galactus crashed into Asgard, warning something called the Black Winter was coming to kill everything. The Black Winter devoured the sixth iteration of the cosmos, leaving only a single survivor, Galen of Tar, who it chose as its herald. Known vaguely to the Asgardians as Fimbulwinter, its coming was prophesied to herald the beginning of Ragnarok. In order to try and save the current iteration of the multiverse, the Silver Surfer revealed the existence of 5 special planets scattered around the cosmos. If consumed by Galactus, these planets will make him far more powerful than ever before, and maybe this will be enough to stop the Star Plague. For this mission, Galactus turned Thor, the God of Thunder himself, into his new herald. Even before his new duties gave him the power cosmic, Thor was already easily one of the strongest Avengers. While Thor has been a being of immeasurable power, who was capable of smiting down all manner of monsters, aliens, and gods for years. He also has the incomparable power cosmic at his command as a herald of Galactus, and in Thor issue 2, Thor shows just how powerful the Asgardians with the power cosmic really is. After Thor assumes his responsibilities as Galactus' new herald, he leads the Devourer of Worlds to the first planet marked by the Silver Surfer for its unique energy. Upon their arrival, Thor notices the planet is inhabited, which prompts him to decide to skip the planet altogether and reach the other 4 instead. However, Galactus insists all 5 planets are required if they have any hope of defeating the Black Winter, but Thor is a hero, an avenger, and he isn't about to sacrifice an entire species to Galactus. Therefore, the Herald of Thunder puts his foot down and stands in the way of his new master. Returning to the prime Marvel universe, the Black Winter easily subdued Galactus and Thor. Intrigued by Thor's many brushes with death, the Black Winter pitted him against manifestations of his greatest enemies and mockingly informed him of what was supposed to be his true end, noting that someone or something was worming their way through time to derail destiny. Thor used a God Blast to escape, prompting the Black Winter to again assume the form of a dark version of the Herald of Thunder before assuming it had no intention of destroying his universe, ominously adding that much darker threats than it were coming. When asked what it actually wanted, the Black Winter mockingly revealed that Galactus had been lying to Thor and was actually its herald, and that it had come to reclaim him. Furious at this revelation, Thor drained Galactus of all his power, leaving him an empty husk. When the Black Winter tried to take him, Thor refused and used Galactus' dead body as a bomb to obliterate the Black Winter. A single snowflake survived, offering to show Thor a vision of his end. A world in which Thanos had stolen Mjolnir and imbued it with the Infinity Stones, commanding an army of zombified heroes before Thor crushed it to dust. The King in Black event at Marvel Comics has seen the God of Symbiotes take on Marvel's most powerful heroes and do considerable damage against both them and their home. Null has successfully enveloped the Earth in darkness with few characters able to challenge him. So far, one of the biggest questions of the event has been, where's Thor? In King in Black issue 3, the God of Thunder returned to fight Null head on. Thor strikes Null with lightning as he's about to go after Dylan Brock, whose powers are key to defeating the villain. Thor and the King in Black exchange mammoth blows, with the God of Thunder knocking out his opponent's jaw by swinging Mjolnir. Null summons All Black, the Necro Sword, and stabs Thor through the chest. Cosmic King Thor is an absolute beast and a force to be reckoned with. Now I'm going to go ahead, move over, and then talk about, of course, current Thor with the Odin Force. Now, Cosmic King Thor later on pretty much had the incomplete Odin Force due to Odin still being alive, so he was still lacking in power. Now, in order for Thor to gain its full power, Odin must pass on, and in this case, Odin did, and so in turn gave Thor the complete Odin Force, making him very powerful. So yes folks, Thor is definitely not lacking when it comes to the attack power. So that's going to pretty much wrap up AP. I'm going to go ahead and dive into speed, and then we're going to go ahead and talk about hacks and abilities and resistances. Now, I've mentioned speed before for Thor. He easily has some relevant arguments too, some relevant speed arguments as well. I've gone over it many times on this channel. If you want to use low end scaling, Thor can easily, travel a infinite distance within a finite amount of time. He has infinite speed. He has MFTL plus reaction speed and travel speed too. So he would definitely scale to these ranges. Very impressive. Now, let's move over and talk about some of Thor's abilities. So believe it or not, the God of Thunder himself has some pretty good hacks. Thor has the ability to absorb energy that his opponents fire at him, and he can redirect it back at them 100 times more powerful than the attack originally was. Thor has the ability to transmutate objects or his opponents and manipulate matter. For example, he turned a pyramid back into an orange grove. We've also seen Thor turn Absorbing Man into helium. As the Asgardian God of Thunder, Thor possesses the phenomenal weather manipulation / electricity manipulation. Thor summoned a lightning storm in the 10th realm to destroy a building. This is particularly notable because there are no clouds in the 10th realm. The 10th realm is a conceptual realm. It's connected to the World Tree itself. So we're literally able to see Thor cast literally lightning from such a huge distance. That's crazy. That's massive. And also Thor is capable of creating portals and can counter BFR or BFR his opponents. Thor teleports the Masters of Evil to a dimension where their powers work backwards. Thor teleports Godstorm to Asgard just before he explodes, and Thor was able to banish frost giants pretty easily. Thor can BFR his foes into limbo, which is a realm that is beyond the concepts of space and time. Thor was able to seal Hyperion inside of a glass ball just by throwing his hammer at him at immense speeds, and the hammer literally just whirled around him like a tornado, and it sealed him inside this little ball. So he has some really good sealing hacks. And of course, Thor's hammer is pretty interesting actually. It has some energy absorption, is able to absorb Hyperion's atomic heat vision just fine, and Mjolnir can also negate and power null magic. Thor threw Mjolnir and made it spin around to negate all mystical energy which was protecting Juggernaut. So he essentially power null Juggernaut, which is insane. That's a really good feat for him. Thor himself has his Warrior's Madness, aka the Berserker Rage, which gives him a 10 times increase in power. He likes to use this especially when he's pressed or he's like really mad, and Thor can strip away people's powers, leaving them powerless, such as when Thor stripped Galactus of his powers, so he has some more power nulling feats. And we also see the God of Thunder have his signature attack called the God Blast, where he blasts this energy from his hammer, and it's also strong enough to literally whirl back Galactus and even put pause to a Celestial. So it's pretty impressive. The God Blast is pretty ridiculous. Thor can track other portals and follow them, and he can instantaneously travel to other realms such as Asgard and other fundamental realities. Thor can call upon Mjolnir to his hand at will anytime, although it will always return to him eventually regardless. Mjolnir can travel through dimensions and back to Thor. Thor has shown to use his hammer to magnetically absorb and remove Magneto's magnetic shield. Mjolnir is completely unaffected by antimatter. This very same antimatter is noted to destroy any type of metal and even adamantium, as Ultron's body is composed of adamantium, and as we all know, adamantium is an indestructible metal. Mjolnir is more durable than adamantium. This is also supported when Wolverine slashes at Mjolnir, and the hammer is completely unscathed. There is a magical enchantment on Thor's hammer. Only those who are worthy can wield Mjolnir. No random person can just pick up his hammer. So that's going to pretty much wrap up all of Thor's hacks. He also has conceptual stuff too. It's pretty blatant at this point. But anyway, I'm going to move over and talk about resistances. So we've seen Thor demonstrate that he's able to resist time manipulation and time-based attacks. An example was when Thor created a tornado that prevented him from being frozen in time, and Thor has also taken and survived temporal attacks from Tempest. Thor has showcased resistance to transmutation and matter manipulation, a force that turns blood to water, doesn't affect Thor, and on another occasion was where Thor was able to resist his blood being turned to stone. Mephisto is unable to consume Thor's soul, and Thor has also taken Hellfire from Ghost Rider, and Hellfire also burns your soul to ash. Thor can also look straight into the supernova without getting blinded. He also has like natural heat resistances too, and resistances to cold temperatures as well. Frost giants themselves shoot out cold blizzards which can literally freeze your soul, so they have some fundamental cold hexes, and he can literally resist it and fight against them in these temperatures, which is very impressive. Now Thor has also taken attacks that affect the mind, body and soul. Emma Frost, who is an Omega level mutant who tries to use telepathy on Thor, was thwarted by Thor's mind resistance. Thor can endure the heat of stars and was also stated to walk on the sun as a child, and he can also move inside the sun itself just fine. Lastly, Thor himself also has conceptual type 8 immortality. As long as there is belief in gods, they will manifest, take form, and give life force, and are sustained by the collective unconsciousness, and due to how important Thor's story is in Marvel, he will always come back. So that's going to round up this video, folks. Overall, Thor is an absolute monster. He's an absolute behemoth when it comes to battles, and with his strong prowess and feats that he's demonstrated throughout the comics, easily, if we're lowballing him, if we're using like finite scaling, planet, star, solar, multi-solar system, galaxy, multi-galaxy, finite uni, high uni, universal plus, low multiversal, multiversal plus, high hyperversal, easily moving up to the tiers of creation. So we're getting to the outerversal ranges. We can get Thor easily into high outer. Boundless scaling is on the table too, and you can even take him up to the extraversal ranges too. This guy is absolutely insane. He will stomp out a lot of verses. Thor is just very resilient and very prominent when it comes to battle. Speed, again, up to you. He easily has finite speed scaling, MFTL plus, infinite speed, immeasurable speed, and irrelevant speed. That's going to round up this video. Thank you guys for watching. If you guys enjoyed this video, please leave a like, comment down below, and of course subscribe for further content. But yes, it's been real. I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace.